focus on me. Focus on my voice. Me. You hear me? Do you hear me? Hear me? Do you hear me better? It's gone better. He left better. But yeah, just that's my fan. So don't worry about that. Cause I really don't listen to myself. I listen to when I'm in a group. Like when I got my friends on my podcast, I listen to that because those are funny. But when it's me, I say whatever, I put it out there, and then I totally forget like whatever I was ranting about. Like I just need to get this stuff off of my mind because it it's a clutter. It's like I got a bunch of sticky notes in my brain about topics. But um, and before I get into anything, um, I guess something I should say is just that, uh, you know, have fun. Have some fun on me. Just go have fun. Then come back and listen to this because I'm about to piss a lot of people off. If you can't tell by the title, um, I okay. So let's just get into it. Yeah, I just wanted to say something positive before I get into the so much negative that I'm going to get into. But hey, I can't help it. I am what I am. Um, so the new DC character Punchline. If people don't know, Punchline is the new addition to the Batman Rogues Gallery as Joker's sidekick, his new sidekick. Um, Punchline is a woman. She is someone that is willingly chosen to team up with Joker. And since he is the Joker, she is his punchline. Yeah, I'm assuming that's why they gave her that name. It's the only thing that would make any sense. So there you go. Now, Punchline is incredibly new. I mean, new. But the the fact that she is new does not overshadow her rise in popularity. Hell, there's even a new villain outside of Punchline in the Batman comics, and his name is the Designer, and he is not even as popular as Punchline, and he's his own villain. And Punchline is just a sidekick villain, but the Designer is his own villain, and Punchline is a sidekick, and then Punchline is now the more popular character. And that's the crazy thing. One, it is a known fact that basically, if you want to get something or have something stick within the DC world, you introduce it through Batman. Like that's your best bet. And then it's like if it's not Batman, it's going to be something in relation to Batman or anyone a part of the Bat family. Uh, Usually, this will involve like the Teen Titans. Whenever it's like a Robin is the leader of the Teen Titans. Other than that, then it's just kind of like they do what comic books do. They just rehash shit. Somebody's gonna be evil at some point in time. There's nothing you can do about it. Every character has always been evil at some point in time, unless they were literally Jesus. And even in Marvel, their Jesus, Adam, had an evil counterpart. So hey, yeah, you do whatever, come what may. So back to Punchline. Punchline is odd, um, simply because of the fact that something that a lot of people probably don't understand or get is that, and here I go with what people are gonna hate, is that Punchline is actually not a good character. There is nothing about her character that is even remotely interesting outside of the fact that she's just Joker's new sidekick. And that's literally how she's introduced, and that's all that you're supposed to take away from her character. They just, bam, Joker got a brand new sidekick. Even her origin as to how she became Joker's sidekick, or like where she started off from in terms of becoming Joker's sidekick, is just a clusterfuck of just the most boring, bland, we need something, here you go, rendition you've ever seen, and it's just horrible. It's just shit. Now, you may ask yourself, well, if that's the case with Punchline, why the hell is she so popular? Why is it that everyone's like going crazy talking about her? So many artists are doing different drawings of her or having her being compared to Harley Quinn and whatnot. What exactly makes Punchline interesting? And it's the costume. It's the fucking costume. That's it. See, there's a thing when it comes with comics, and that is that female characters who have dope ass costumes are just skyrocketed to the top of the list in terms of shit that people want. Um, what's ridiculous is that this has been proven time and time and time again. Gwen Stacy becoming Spider-Man, and then they made her Spider Gwen. For the longest, that wasn't her name. Like that's not a name. So in the comic, they didn't go around calling her Spider Gwen, but that's the name of the comic book. And it wasn't until recently that they actually gave her a name where she's called Ghost Spider. And just for the longest, she was just this person running around. Didn't have a title or anything like that. But she rose into popularity because of the fact that it was just a different design of Gwen Stacy. If she was to be Spider-Man, someone drew a dope ass costume, and then people just decided that that was the shit. It blew up, and then she got her own comic. Now she's one of the prominent characters in the Spider-Verse stuff, and hell, if she wasn't one of the everyone in Into the Spider-Verse movie was amazing. So yeah, like she was in a good addition to that. And honestly, considering other characters that have been in Spider-Man for longer, her getting skyrocketed up to that point, that's testament enough. This is also the case with the Gwenpool, which is a Gwen Stacy, another Gwen Stacy that's from our universe who gets put into the Marvel universe, has absolutely no powers, but is like super able to break the fourth wall, and it just has a complete knowledge of everything Marvel. And basically, someone just took Deadpool, turned him into a girl, gave him blonde hair, called it Gwen, drew it pink and white, dope ass costume, got her own comic book. And the shit works. Simply because comic books are so desperate for something new and different in order to sell books that they typically stem to do any and everything as long as it's popular or somewhat interesting. Hell, the Rebirth series having Superman and Wonder Woman be a couple, as dumb as that is, the interesting factor of just trying to see how their relationship play out with them being who they are is what drove a lot of people to read their comic books, simply because that concept was popular. It wasn't good. It's not a good concept, but it's just the idea of it is popular. Hey, I always wondered what happened if Wonder Woman and Superman fucked. Let's find out. And so, hey, people looked into it. But it's just, when they actually did it, and it's like it stopped being a question, and then it became a something put into practice, and then it's just, oh no, this is bad. It got to the point where they got rid of it in the comic books, and then even in the animated series where they tried to force feed it down your throat, they got rid of it also, and it just all of it was bad, just really bad. Like Wonder Woman going around constantly looking at movies and then talking about the injustices women had to face in these movies that were misogynistic, and Superman kind of ignoring her because he just doesn't get where this anger is coming from. Really, really dumb. So, need to take a drink. So back to Punchline. So Punchline basically is made popular because of her costume. So, with that being the case, and DC being what they are, I mean, at the point of me making this episode or stating this argument, DC is currently basically going through a purge in which they're like getting rid of everyone who's basically fucking up their revenue in the comic industry. And because of the fact that a lot of books are being made without the concept of this will actually make us money, or this will appease fans more so with just, this is my ideals and I want to stick them on this comic book that has nothing to do with it. So like they're going through a purge right now. But this is something that I've long since thought about when it came to the Punchline character, and I'm upset at the rendition of the Punchline character because of the factors of other things, which I have stated before. But because of other factors, it's kind of a a domino thing. It's like if you take a step back and look at the whole picture, then you be like, yeah, this is kind of mm, mm. But most people don't really connect the dots when it comes to uh, DC or any comic book genre, um, not genre, but any comic book character in general. When it's like, you take a step back and look at the grand scheme of exactly what they're doing with all of the books together as a whole, to see exactly what direction they're trying to change your viewpoint when it comes to certain characters and whatnot. So the thing with Punchline and the fact that her costume and her look is just so, it's good. Like I love her look. I will not deny that. Like anyone else who keeps drawing amazing pictures of her, her costume is dope. It is cool. It is really cool. I give them that. Granted, that is amazing. But they literally, her origin literally just has Joker coming out of her closet after she poisons like a professor at her college, and that's all the depth they put into her character. Eventually, they're gonna put how she met Joker one way or the other, but honestly, it's going to be shit whenever they do it. It's not going to be anything that's impressive because she's already given off the um this persona as someone who's just willingly going with Joker because she wants to, be this crazy person that's alongside of him. And so they just kind of squeezed her into just being a part of the rogues gallery or someone else that Batman just has to take down that comes along with fighting Joker. Um, the crazy thing is that this is exactly what they did with Harley Quinn when they made Batman the Animated Series. The difference is, and then much like with Punchline, they didn't give Harley Quinn her origin until much later. I'm not sure if even if they thought about exactly how they implemented Harley Quinn's origin, but granted, good for them when they did showcase how her and Joker got to be one of the best things ever. That's one of my favorite things about Harley Quinn was her origin when they introduced it. But the thing is that they're doing exactly the same thing they did with Harley Quinn, which is that she just popped up because she's related to the Joker. She automatically has to be taken into account as someone that is of some type of threat because that is Batman's arch nemesis. She's some type of threat, as well as basically like Batman has Robin, Joker got whatever sidekick, and that's how that's supposed to go. The difference is that, well, as I was trying to say, the difference is that with Harley Quinn, that was for an animated series that was intended for children. It was a way to lighten up the Joker. They couldn't really get into nitty gritty stuff like they did in the beginning, or they had to shy away from it until they just had a foothold in just being like a good animated series that can get away with all the gunfire and supposed murder, because Joker gas had to just make people smile, but they didn't die, type stuff. But this was all an attempt to brighten up the Joker, who was his own villain and a standalone character in Batman's Rogues Gallery. So then giving him Harley Quinn and then how they played off who Harley Quinn was to him and how he treated Harley Quinn and everything, just to hype up the villain factor with Joker. It was necessary for the show, but realistically for the comic books, not necessary. But she was such an amazing character that it just became accepted. thus giving us the Harley Quinn that we got today that everyone loves. She's such an iconic fucking character, and it's like I dare you to sit there and go like you don't need Harley Quinn in Batman, and it's like, well, yeah, I mean, she's an amazing character on her own. She's done a lot of stuff. Having her be in the Suicide Squad, um, having her do certain things with the Joker and certain like major events and stuff like that. Just a good character. She honestly was a nice balance that was cleverly implemented with Joker when they were able to get her just right. Oh, she was fantastic as the sidekick to the Joker, and as well as someone who was his um, lover, and she cared for him unlike anyone else who could get like she was someone who basically looked at the Joker and was like, I love him. And while everyone else knows like this crazy fool is going to kill you one day, run, girl. And she just, no, he'll never do that to me. He loves me. Which is not far fetched from something that happens a lot in like terrible relationships and stuff like that, and a lot of people can relate to that of her character and aspect and whatnot. So it was Harley Quinn eventually became fantastic. In the beginning, I'm pretty sure comic book people were offset by her, but if you were like me, who really didn't take into comic books, and the animated series of Batman was your only intro to Batman outside of the movies, uh, you were fine with Harley Quinn. She just was Joker's sidekick. She was just another of the many characters that they showcased in Batman. So there was nothing really off about her. And it was like, sure, if your first inclining of Batman was to see Harley Quinn, then you would have no problem with Harley Quinn, is essentially what I'm trying to say. So why is it that this ain't gonna work for Punchline? Well, the thing is that the way how they introduced Punchline was not that she was this happy, cheery, go lucky, bright eyed character to Joker's silliness to where they play it off well with each other. She's someone who isn't really in it for the kicks and the laughs, more so as she's in it for the carnage and the death and the destruction. Being implemented in the comic books where they can get away with a lot more gruesome stuff rather than Harley Quinn, who was introduced in the TV show where they had to lighten up the Joker's gruesomeness because that's something that could not stick with children and whatnot. Because they were clever in how they hid Joker's murders, like the gas and the gas and the shootings and things like that, off-screen murders and whatnot. That had to be cleverly done to still give you a presence of danger with the Joker, but at the same time something that was just a symbolism of the fact that the man is supposed to be a clown. So with Punchline, she's just this stern, serious person who gets what Joker is doing. And that's the problem. It's like she gets and understands the death and the murder and all that of what Joker is doing, but not being the cheery, happy-go-lucky cheerleader. They're having her play off more as like him being the wacky, funny person and her being the straight man, which doesn't fit with a sidekick, because a sidekick is supposed to be literally that. You are the lower, weaker rendition of the person that you are the sidekick of. So that's why with Harley Quinn, her jumping around, hollering, Mr. J, her accent, her goofy nature, dressing up, messing with people and things like that, all of that was fantastic. All of it was perfect. With Punchline, you get this stern, serious girl who Joker sits there and goes, I'm going to poison the reservoir. And she's like, yeah, do it. And it's like, that's not funny, and it's like, that's not a goofy sidekick to a clown. And it's like, he's supposed to be like, I'm gonna poison the reservoir, ha ha ha, and she's gonna be like, oh, you're so strong and handsome, ha ha ha, something like that. To it it would further emphasize Joker. Like that's what Harley Quinn did. Her her name and her character literally means sidekick. A Harlequin is a sidekick clown character. They when the main clown would come out, the sidekick that is meant to help with props or help him out or whatnot, in order to give the image that this is still funny, this is still a joke. It's someone else who comes out dressed up and is a goofy person or whatever, but they are still the sidekick to the main clown. They hype up and give more emphasis to the main clown. That's what Harley Quinn shined in. The punchline is is basically the end of the joke. It is where the joke is supposed to be funny. It is supposed to be the understanding as to why you had to go through the setup of the joke in the first place. And her name is clever, but it doesn't fit because his name is Joker, not Joke. You know, and if his name was Joke and she was the punchline, yeah, that would play off well. But he's the Joker, not the joke. That's the only gripe I have with her name. Other than that, I love her name. I think her name is actually cool. Um, but it don't fit to a sidekick thing. And it's like it's too. It's like they're trying too hard to make her a sidekick when this is just because of the fact that this isn't authentic. This is just becoming incredibly on the nose that sidekick, new sidekick, new sidekick, new sidekick, and but how they're handling her character ain't good. It really isn't good, and you know it in future sakes, who knows what they're going to do with her character? Basically, this purge that's going on with DC, I would hope, someone else will probably try to tackle her in a new light, but because she's so goddamn new, you can't really add a new image to her. This, what we're seeing right now is her image. Everything about her is brand new and fresh, and that's what's going to be the concrete platform as to what everyone base everything else off of. The animated series for Batman is what everyone did for Harley Quinn hereafter. Was that a right phrasing of words? I believe that's a right phrasing of words. But the animated series is where she comes from. So any rendition of her from the comic books, you have to think back to the animated series and where you sit there and look at that and go, well, she acted this way in the animated series, so when they have her acting this way in the comic, certain things you gotta take with a grain of salt. Certain things you look at and go, this is a better rendition of her character. Other things you can look at and go, yeah, this would be Harley Quinn in a more serious, dramatic, and gritty setting of Gotham or any Batman series. Like Harley Quinn in the Arkham games, perfect. She was fucking perfect in the Arkham games. In Arkham Asylum, when she was going around dressed as a nurse, genius. It's like that was genius. And in Arkham Knight, where she basically was constantly telling Batman that Mr. J got something planned, but also being like mournful because of the fact that he was dying of the disease, and she was like, and it was like, this is your fault because you made him do what happened in the first Arkham game. Genius stuff that was genius. And then Arkham Knight, she was just mourning and just wanted to just kill Batman because if it wasn't for him, Joker wouldn't be dead. So it's like, and I love what the Arkham games did with her character. Um, it's like because they gave it perfect respect to exactly who she is and what she is. Um, Unlike current renditions of Harley Quinn because of other agendas that are trying to be met and things that are trying to be done. But I digress. So, with that being one thing about Punchline, that's not the only issue I have with Punchline. Um, More so about her serious tone and nature. That basically, essentially, it doesn't play off well with the Joker. More so, they're making her the stern, straight man, and they're just insinuating, which basically amounts to her just being any old lackey. Like, there's nothing special about Punchline. Because the things that she's doing are basically stuff that they would typically have Harley Quinn do, who was already a pre-established sidekick. Having Punchline do them basically is just like, okay, well, if this was Harley Quinn, would it be any different? and how what she like her role that she's playing in these grand schemes of Joker are having. Like, is there really any difference that would take place because Punchline is now doing them rather than if Harley Quinn was doing them? So if you was to write it that Harley Quinn was in Punchline's place, would you need the character Punchline? Eh, it's it's that she has no identity. There's nothing about her that's standing out, and it's sad because they implemented her in the comics, but the way how they introduced her in the comics is one of the um, one of the negative points about her character. In the animated series, you got Harley Quinn, and she was already pre-established with the Joker. In the very first episode, is just bam, Harley Quinn. So there was no need for a build-up or anything like that because again, this was a way for a lot of people to get initially introduced into the Batman world. If you were reading the comics and everything like that, the animated series ain't the comics. So whatever they do is whatever they're gonna do. And if you was watching the animated series, when they showed Harley Quinn, I've said this before, that's that's what you got, and it's like, okay, this is this character, this is how she acts, and that's the pre-established, tone and everything with Harley Quinn. Now with the comics, because you have more wiggle room, a hell of a lot more wiggle room in exactly how you're going to portray the Joker, how you're going to portray Batman in being introduced as a brand new character, or anyone else from the Bat family, or Gotham going through whatever they're going through, while she's basically an up and coming new person that's supposed to be taken as like a big time hitter in Batman's Rogues Gallery. How do you implement her? And just plopping her into the comics without any type of build up is a huge negative. There was nothing to Punchline. They just brought her out, and then like her origin itself was just a, yeah, like Joker found her and taught her some stuff, and now she's gonna be Punchline. Rather than, what would have been interesting is to see the slow corruption of a character who then would become Joker's new sidekick. And there could have been some mystery behind it. You could have had multiple characters who basically were getting fed up with Batman or doing some stuff that interacted with Joker or were helping out Joker and being manipulated by him, only to think like, like what's going on with these people. And then rather than it being just someone who was typically manipulated or messed with by Joker, someone eventually would step up and actually declare themselves to become, his new sidekick. And then he would actually agree to it. Something like that. That would have been a hell of a lot more interesting. You would have got way more depth and consistency with the character. It would have been, instead of just plopping in somebody that everyone's supposed to just be like, new sidekick. It could have been handled a hell of a lot better in order to give that character some type of personality or their own existence outside of just being, this is Joker's sidekick. Um, Simply because of the fact that you're dealing with the comics, which is already pre-established and pre-existing stuff with a huge longevity stream going on, but rather than a TV series, which is just starting fresh. So that's another way that her character was done poorly and terrible, which I do not like and I can't stand. Because that's essentially how they are handling just any old character now. Well, they'll just throw someone in. There's no build up or, wonder about these characters or whatnot. They'll just toss someone in. What, they did it with Captain Marvel, the female Captain Marvel. She got a half sister that's like part Kree or something like that. And they just tossed her in. And it was like, okay. And it's like, there's nothing to that. You just throwing this character and saying that they're related to this other pre-established character, and now I'm supposed to feel for them because you tell me that they're related. Like, this is why they're related. This is a new character, but they're related to this character. This is why they're related. Okay, I don't care. So give me a reason to care that this character is now related to this character, or why this character decided to become, associated with this character. What are they doing? Or anything like just something to add on to the character to give them their own fucking identity outside of just being, this is Joker's new sidekick. Okay, well, what the hell makes her special? Well, nothing. It's just Joker's new sidekick. It's just a new crazy girl that decided to follow Joker. Okay, so it's like who cares? That's nothing to that. Which leads me to the main reason I don't like Punchline. Um, because again, benefit of the doubt with everything else, they haven't had enough time to actually establish anything with her. They have more than enough time to establish and give her something, a backstory, more of a personality, have her do or prove exactly how dangerous she is as Joker's sidekick. They have time to do that. But the thing is that when they do it, it's like, will it be that she's her own character, or will she just be a Harley Quinn clone? That's that's the problem. Now, the main thing that I don't like about Punchline is the fact that she is only there because Harley Quinn can't be Joker's sidekick anymore. He paused for dramatic effect as he took a sip of his drink. Um, Now, DC has made it very, very clear that they love Harley Quinn. They love Harley Quinn. They love the idea of Harley Quinn, especially the idea of making Harley Quinn a goddamn anti-hero. Now, if you've seen the Birds of Prey movie, then you understand exactly. Well, essentially, that's the direction that they wish Harley Quinn to go in. Because of her rise in popularity and how much people like her, men, women, everybody, all shapes and sizes, colors, what have you. Hell is why they did the animated series, which is basically just a huge, huge just gag on the DC Batman stuff, or just DC in general, really. Whoop. But the the idea that they're trying to disassociate Harley Quinn with the Joker to make her her own character is a big time negative for Harley Quinn or anyone who happens to be a Harley Quinn fan, because you're seeing exactly what they're doing with the character and they're fucking her up big time. But it's a negative for Harley Quinn. But essentially, what's terrible that's happening is that basically they still want to implement what made Harley Quinn special onto another character. So this is why Punchline is ridiculous. You see, Harley Quinn cannot be, if Harley Quinn is supposed to fit this ideal of this tough anti-hero type character who's crazy but can still, keep up with the big boys, associates and talks with these meta-humans who are able to crush planets and whatnot, and she's a front runner for when the Earth is in trouble, you sometimes could call on her and she'll help people out. Or if something real bad has happened, Suicide Squad might get Harley Quinn to show up. They want her to be associated with all of that. But you can't have her do that if she's gaga over Joker, who's smacking her around all the time because he doesn't care that she's gaga over Joker. And, well, which he would do because he's gaga over Joker. Dude's a huge narcissist. So, how can you portray this strong, independent woman who doesn't play by anyone's rules, let alone the good guy rules, if she's in love with a sociopath who's just crazy and is just plain evil, and is openly hurt her, abused her, doesn't give a damn about her feelings, and like purposely put her in danger simply because he finds it hilarious, um, only to have her run back to him because she just doesn't understand that there's nothing she can do to get through to his crazy. See, you see how that can't work? It's like essentially um, having Wonder Woman be in love with the Joker secretly. You see how that can't work? You can't have Wonder Woman be Wonder Woman, but she's in love with the psychopath that is Joker. And essentially how immediately you displace yourself from that ideal is why they did what they did with Harley Quinn. Now, this all goes back to Punchline, trust me. I'm getting there. So, because they can't have Harley Quinn associated with Joker that way, they distance Harley Quinn from Joker. They started giving her own comic book. They started putting her in her own thing and shining a spotlight on her outside of the realm of Joker. Now, this is where DC messed up big time because much like Marvel, they didn't understand the draw power behind these characters that they're starting to basically take a scalpel to, and they're trying to cut them up and put them in certain places and make people feel what they want to feel about each particular individual character in order to help with sales or to place this agenda on certain characters and whatnot. So we want Harley Quinn to be perceived as this strong, tough, independent woman. Okay. And it's like, we're going to take her away from the Joker. Okay. So this is where the manipulation comes into play. You start doing things where Joker now looks secondary towards Harley Quinn. You throw in sly comments here and there in different medias where people who are interested in these characters will see and hear it, and then basically it'll start to have them understand or think the way how you want them to think. I got first glimpse of this in the Suicide Squad movie, where Amanda Waller sat there and was talking to these guys about Harley Quinn, and then she was saying, in some cases, she's more dangerous. Like she was like, she's actually more dangerous and crazier than the Joker. And I just I like the Suicide Squad movie. Hate me if you must. I like it. Yes, it has its problems. I'm not someone who's going to deny that it has faults. Hell, I like Spider-Man 3. I understand the faults. I like what I like. You can fast forward movies now, so you don't got to sit there and look at the whole movie. But you can fast forward to the parts that are actually worth watching. Oh boy. Like when Sandman came up and the music was playing and he grabbed the locket. Come on, that was a dope scene. That's a good scene. It doesn't excuse the whole movie, but the movie is like 50-50 bad, 50 good. So, 50-50 bad, 50... it's 50-50. Part bad, part good. But with the Suicide Squad, when Amanda Waller said that, my eyebrow raised in the movie theater. And I was like, did anyone else catch that? Like, I was like, did anyone else notice that she said what she said? Because, fuck you, lady. And I was like, and then, like, they had extensive knowledge on her background. So then I was like, if you know what you know about the Joker, how could you possibly say that Harley Quinn is crazier than him? With a straight face, even. And I was like, there's nothing proven. I was like, I'll tell you how you know she's not crazier than him. The fact that you know you can manipulate her, but you know you can't manipulate him. That alone lets you know who the real big shot crazy person is. And then who's caught, her or him? Yeah, so really dumb when they did that and when they said that. And I was like, But it's like sly stuff that they've been implementing systematically to have you think and feel a certain way about characters in order for them to be done in a certain way. Like the DC Gals TV show. Harley Quinn is a main character in that. A part of the good guys. She is a villain. But they want to associate her more so as an anti-hero. So she's more so the crazy, goofy girl. But she still fights with the good guys. You see what I'm saying? So they started doing certain stuff to Harley Quinn to separate her away from Joker. But whenever it comes to agenda pushing or trying to get you to feel a certain way about a certain character, to heighten one character, you need to lessen another character. Otherwise, there will be a battle, and whoever is the more dominant one will overshadow the other one. So systematically, they have been constantly trying to push down the Joker. One of the things is that the Joker movie that came out was not supposed to do well. That actually was not supposed to be as good as it was. That was obvious. It was from the get go. You could tell from like media and things like that, from people saying exactly what the Joker movie was going to do. And then what it actually did was just be a good movie that just made a bunch of people take pictures in a Joker costume on stairs in Brooklyn. That's it. That's all that it did. But it was like it was portrayed that it was gonna make you feel this kind of way, think this kind of way, and it was like there was no possible way you could do a movie that would do justice to this comic book character that's supposed to be this crazy, this deranged, and whatnot. And it's actually a good movie. It's uncomfortable as shit. I don't like watching it, but it's a good movie. I own the movie. I bought the movie. I have the movie, but I do not like watching the movie. It makes me uncomfortable. But it's like it's supposed to, and that's the genius of it. That's why I bought it. Damn it. But that movie was not supposed to do well. That movie was not supposed to do well, and in doing so, it proved without a shadow of a doubt that despite whatever it is that you might want to do to basically high character, like good, amazing, and popular characters, you really can never. Not when it comes to comic books and things like that. The the more popular a character is, the more likely they're going to overshadow the newer things that you are trying to get implemented. They have two. They have one too big of a fandom. Two, they're just so deeply rooted into so many people and their kids. The shit is like Star Wars, you know. And it's like if a person grew up reading Batman comic books, when they had a kid, they got their kids to enjoy anything Batman. When those kids grew up and they have kids, they have their kids enjoy anything Batman. Everybody in the family loves Batman. But in that 3 generation span, only one generation knows who the fuck Harley Quinn is or even cares about her character enough to want to go see a movie that's supposed to be about her. You see what I'm saying? So it's it's a losing battle to sit there and try to change all of these people' opinions about these well-known, well-fleshed out, well-beloved characters just to fit the ideal that you have for a character that only kind of just got started. So that's the implication that they have with Harley Quinn of what's going on and everything like that. And this is affecting, and again, this is affecting Punchline. I'm getting back, I'm going to get to it. This is affecting Punchline, but it's like, I got to explain the Harley Quinn shit first to let you understand what's up with Punchline. But the fact that essentially they're trying to heighten up Harley Quinn but lessen the Joker. But the problem is that you can't lessen the Joker because basically his roots are made out of steel, not wood anymore. The shit done transformed into steel. And you're trying to uproot him and the shit ain't happening. So you start having different things with Batman or anything like that where Joker is now take a backseat of a character. In the new Batman movie, he's going to be fighting Slade. Uh, and things that have been Batman, you don't see Joker referenced or brought up as a character as much. Even in the Suicide Squad movie, a lot of the scenes that involved the Joker were cut out. And there was supposed to be a lot of shit that involved the Joker. Hell, a lot of the reason why people went to go see Suicide Squad was because of the Joker. Because that's why I went to go see it. And even still, you're trying to sit there and downplay who the Joker is, his actions and whatnot, in order to further advance another character. But still is like, yeah, they might get disappointed with that character and what you're doing with them now, but it's not going to stop the love for that character that they already have. Much like with Star Wars, you know, those new movies are shit. They're just shit. Fight me if you want to, but you can't tell me that those movies are good. They're all bad. The new movies are bad, but as much as you might cry that the new movies are bad, people who are fans of Star Wars still like Star Wars. They just don't like those movies. So that's just how that is. I'm not a fan of Star Wars. I don't like any of it. It's all stupid. It's all stupid. Only thing of Star Wars that matters was the Force Unleashed games. Those things were awesome. and now they're not canon. So why should I like Star Wars? I no longer have a reason to like Star Wars. They made Star Killer uncanon. Who cares? It's like what should you care? Oh, they got the new Han Solo movie. I don't care. I really don't. Really don't. But so essentially, it's backfiring what they're trying to do with Harley Quinn by making her her own associated character. It's cool that they want to do that, but realistically, it's the same problem that Marvel is having because they don't have a lot of Marvel doesn't have any popular female character. Fuck you if you think who you think are popular female characters, because I'll name you two right now who you believe are popular, but they're not. Black Widow and Miss Marvel. I mean Captain Marvel. They're not popular. They're not popular. If they're a part of the MCU, that's not popular. If you only reason you know about them is because of the MCU, then they're not popular. People knew about Wonder Woman way before she got a goddamn movie. But I bet you can't name one female character in Marvel that's not associated with the X-Men, um, or any of the Avengers movies. Yeah, or anyone who hasn't been in the MCU who is not a part of the X-Men. I could think of somebody, anybody. It's like if you don't read comics and you don't like if you don't read comics and then you can't think of any other character that's like female that's popular in Marvel, I rest my case. But so to basically for DC to have more female characters that are as popular or as big as Wonder Woman, they tried to find whichever one was the most popular. Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn is a very popular female character in the DC world. The issue is that Harley Quinn is not a positive representative for women. Maybe it's because she's a goddamn villain. But hey, I'm just a smart person. So now we have to get rid of her villain persona in order to sit there and usher her in as a positive female character. So we can't make her a good guy. No, that'd be too on the nose. We'll make her an anti-hero. Someone who helps but is unwilling in helping. But at the same time, you have her still stick with the crazy clown, goofy type of persona, which is what people liked about Harley Quinn in the first place. So you do what you do with Harley Quinn. Now then, we can't have her be overshadowed by Joker, because essentially all we're having is a female good guy Joker. So we have to downplay Joker. Now he's no longer as big as a threat as he used to be. Backfired. Don't work. People love Joker way too fucking much. So now what do we do to destroy his image? We can't destroy his image. That's impossible. So what do? How do we sit there and try to bring up Harley Quinn without her being overshadowed by her past being associated with the Joker? Because literally that's what fucking defines her, which is incredibly insane and idiotic to do when everything about her, even her fucking name, is associated with being the sidekick to the Joker. Well, dun 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 dun, you give Joker a brand new sidekick. You make Harley Quinn someone who tries to tell the sidekick, don't be his sidekick. You give Harley, now there's no longer anything to tie Harley Quinn with the Joker. He moved on, you should move on. And that's what they're doing with Punchline, is that they are slowly but surely, systematically, trying to get you to no longer associate Harley Quinn with the Joker, to make her separation and isolation from him complete. That's what they're trying to do. So to easily do that, because no matter what, everyone looks at Harley Quinn and goes, well, that's his sidekick. But if now you implement a brand new sidekick, now everyone will look at it and just be like, oh, like when you sit there and go, who's Joker's sidekick? What they want is eventually for people to just start going Punchline. And it's like whenever you first introduce or say who Joker's sidekick is, Punchline is to be the first words that come out of your mouth. If it's Harley Quinn, they ain't trying hard enough, and they're gonna make another movie, and it's gonna be more about just destroying the patriarchy. That dude literally said he's playing the typical male, evil, masculine, patriarchy persona guy with black mask. Oh, that was so stupid. Oh, that movie is bad. This is not a good movie. There's so many things wrong with it, contradictions, plot holes, and just idiotic steps that just make no sense. Um, oh, bad movie. Then they butchered some characters that would have been dope female characters to introduce into the DC world, but nope, because Harley Quinn's got to be what they want Harley Quinn to be. So, yeah, no. But essentially, that's the runaround that comes back to Punchline. Is that and that's the main reason why I don't like Punchline. Is that I understand what they're trying to do with Punchline. There is no reason for Punchline to exist. They haven't given a definite answer as to where she comes from or as to why you should even give a fuck that, this character decided to become Joker's new sidekick, or that Joker decided now of all times to even get a new sidekick. Um, but that was the problem in the first place when they decided to make Harley Quinn her own character. Harley Quinn is not a character to be emulated. She was not someone to feel sympathy for. She was someone who legit was well aware of her actions, was intelligent enough to be aware of her actions. But Harley Quinn's symbol was the fact that she heightened everything that made the Joker such a fearsome villain. The fact that this well-educated woman who was young, smart, incredibly smart, goddamn psychiatrist with degrees, and she handled insane people all the time. It was her chosen profession. Handled insane people all the time. It's what she wanted to do in life, and then she saw an opportunity to try and help the man that they call the Joker, the Crown Prince of Crime. And through her sessions with meeting and speaking with him, this chick fell in love, broke him out of Arkham Asylum, and then drove her to a life of crime so she could just be with her pudding. And that's the beauty of Harley Quinn, is that Harley Quinn is just another victim that the Joker has made in his long line of victims. It's just she is someone who is a constant reminder as to what this man is capable of. The man was able to go into the mind of this just well-educated, beautiful woman who had her whole life ahead of her, and he manipulated her to become another pawn for him to use whenever the hell he felt like it. And that is genius. Even to the point where, like, if you was to take into account what they did on Suicide Squad, which is something that I liked, is that when they're all walking, Harley starts talking to everyone and messing with them. And then they were like, "What are you doing?" And then she was like, "I'm bored. I need a mind to mess with. That's what I do. I like getting inside people's heads, seeing what makes them tick, and then screwing with it just to piss them off and to get them going. Because that's just how I am." And realistically, it's like, as someone who is a trained psychiatrist, that is something that she could easily do. But at the same time, she might be aware that she's capable of doing that, but she was not aware that it was being done to her. Just thereby even further letting you further know exactly how dangerous the Joker truly is, and how much more of a threat you should take into account when dealing with the Joker than any other character in DC or anyone else from the Batman's Rogues Gallery. And that was the beauty of the Harley Quinn character. Like, when they gave her her origin, it just made her importance just that much grander. And realistically, adding a brand new sidekick diminishes that. It doesn't. Punchline is not being showcased as another victim to Joker's long line of victims. It's just someone who's trying to fill in a role that was already made because of a victim. And now that you're trying to take that victim away and make them their own character or their own person, it doesn't really fit, because everything about her character was because of that was because of the fact that she was a victim. So it's really, really idiotic that they're trying to implement Punchline as this brand new sidekick while giving Harley Quinn her own reason to be a solo act, but at the same time not really understanding exactly the the weight that comes with Harley Quinn being who she was and what they added into her character when dealing with the Joker. When they did finally give Harley Quinn her origin, it made, like, I was like, damn, like her character is now ridiculously dope. You know, at first she was just a sidekick, goofy chick that you would see Joker slap around whenever she did something wrong or bad. But when it got to the nitty gritty of exactly what was going on in her mind as to why she was dealing with the Joker, it was just, damn. Like, seriously, and it's like, now I understand. She's not, she's just like everybody else that he's been killing. She's just another person that's just, and it's like, you can't save her. She's just a lost soul. That's just another body count in Joker, in Joker's ever growing body count, and that's there's so much beauty implemented into that with her character, but it's like you can't feel sorry for her, and it's like because I've had this conversation before with other people, but you can feel sorry for her, but at the same time, you also got to take into account that she's well aware of her actions. But this is just how dangerous the Joker is that he can make a normal, functioning human being just become a mass murdering psychopath just because she had conversations with this motherfucker. And and that's just fantastic because it shines, it gives so much to her character, while it all it does is brighten and lifts up his character as well. They balanced each other. Their relationship was perfect. He was the sun, she was the moon. It fit so goddamn well. And Punchline is just thrown in the mix. They just added her in. Bam. They did not give a build up to it. Like I said, because as comics, you would need a build up with a character like this. A big time reveal of Joker getting a brand new sidekick should not just be implemented as Joker's getting a brand new sidekick. Here's the issue when we show her. It should be Joker's getting a brand new sidekick. Who is it going to be? Why is it going to be? What's about to happen in these new string of issues that is going to implement this character in becoming his goddamn sidekick? And that would have been amazing. That would have been fantastic. Then you would have got to see basically a new tragic character being created because of Joker doing what he does best in manipulation, deceit, lies, and what have you, and just messing with another soul. And it would have seemed like a copy with Harley Quinn, but as again, you really can't not have it be a copy of Harley Quinn if you're going to implement a brand new sidekick for the Joker. He's a villain. He's not a good guy. It's not someone he's finding and he's trying to help. It's someone he's manipulating into helping him kill. So it would be a copycat of Harley Quinn, but essentially, as long as you implement and do the character right, it could be a good copycat. You would have more of a feel for her. You would have more of an understanding for her. I've said this before when I thought one of the better characters that they kind of threw away because the New 52 just made everyone shit themselves out of hate. In New 52, they had some things that, they did terrible. Well, everything they did was terrible. But they had some ideas and stuff that, if worked correctly, would have been amazing. And Joker's daughter was one of them. And making her Dula Dent, and it was Harvey Dent's daughter, only to sit there and have the big reveal for her be associated that she's another character's daughter, where rather than her just being this nameless crazy girl who believed herself to be Joker's daughter, which would have made her character amazing, no, they didn't want to do that. And it was just, again, missed opportunity. I've spoken about this before, but again, it just goes to show you to where it it didn't matter that that was someone who was basically manipulated by Joker's influence without him even being there. It was the fact that he did manipulate someone without him not being there, and this character was willing to go hog wild because of that. And she was a fantastic character, and I thought like if they would have did her right, she would have been amazing. People would have like it would have been cool seeing her be her own character that just goes around doing stuff thinking that it's gonna appease or please the Joker. That would have been great. She would have been a nice element to add in. She could have been a Teen Titan villain or something. I know they made her a part of the Suicide Squad, but it just they could have did so much with her character. And but they didn't because New 52 crash and burn, stupid shit. But it's just there was so much to take away and so much that they missed when handling Joker's daughter. And again, it's just the fact that like that also could have been tackled in dealing with Punchline. You know, and it's like yes, it could be someone else that Joker manipulated into deciding that they want to spend the rest of their lives helping him kill and murder and live with him and whatnot. But how you go about actually doing it would have made all the difference in whether or not this character was going to be interesting or not interesting. Uh, but for right now, she's just bleh, and if you and then because of the fact that a comic is a comic, to to see her descent into becoming his sidekick rather than just being told this is his sidekick would have made so much more of a difference. It just would have. It really would have. Um, However, they're going to implement her origin. When they do implement her origin, it ain't going to hit home the same. We already are seeing, we're already seeing, damn it, I keep hitting it. We're already seeing Punchline's interaction with the Joker while she's Punchline. But we're not seeing whatever her name is before Joker got a hold of her and turned her into Punchline. And because we don't have that aspect, there's just nothing, absolutely nothing about her character that make me even care to read a new comic, to look into whatever it is that she was about, to even give a damn to see her in a movie or anything like that. She's just this whatever character that, just for right now, they're using as a placeholder because they can't do, and they won't put Harley Quinn in that situation anymore because they need her to be associated outside of a connection to the Joker. And essentially, that's all. That's all that Punchline is. That's all that makes up Punchline, and it's terrible. And it sucks because essentially, so many people are glossing over this fact just because of a costume. Because the costume looks good, the rest of this is null and void. But I assure you, no one's buying the books. They're just going to keep drawing her character. But so, I mean, people still draw Harley Quinn from the Birds of Prey movie. It didn't make the ticket sales go up. It's just, cool designs are cool designs. Artists will draw what they draw. But yeah, it's not, there's nothing of like, no one's rushing to the comic book store to buy the newest Batman comic to see what's going on between a relationship of Joker and Punchline. If they are buying a comic book, it's just to see, if this Batman story is going to be good or if it's going to tank. And at the rate that they're going with Punchline, like I said, I hope that they eventually, give her like a solid origin as to how she met with Joker, and got into being Punchline. Just to give um, a far more concrete identity with her character. And I really hope that they don't start out with her just being like crazy and okay with killing and wanting to kill, and she just so happened to bump into the Joker, and that just gave her the A-OK to start killing. Hell, they did a much better breakdown of a character in the We Are Robin comics. And in the We Are Robin comics, they had a bunch of kids running around as Robin protecting Gotham. But there was this kid who basically just loved the Joker. He was a huge fan of the Joker. And so then he started to emulate the Joker, and then he created a gang of people who were just thinking that what the Joker did was funny. It was going around wanting to kill, shoot up, and things like that. But you got to slowly see him turn into who he became. Like when he went to juvie, him in his first kill, like having pictures of the Joker all over his wall, and him being like, I love this guy, like he is the man. And you see what I'm saying? Like comic books would allow that, and I just really, it was a real missed opportunity that they did not slow burn Punchline rather than just plopping her in to sell books. Bad mistake, DC. Very bad mistake. Um, so it's something where a lot of people don't understand because heck, a lot of people don't read comic books, but her character ain't nothing special. There's nothing good about her. There's nothing different about her. She's just a placeholder for Harley Quinn. Her costume is amazing, and that's why everyone's drawing her, and that's why there's so many pictures of her up, and why so many people are talking about her. And it's strictly only the costume. But if you ask anyone to even say what her real name is, I promise you, they'll have no fucking idea. Alright, that's it for me. This has been another wonderful rendition of a flame rant. I just really wanted to talk about this subject because like I said, I love the design for her character, like a lot of people. I just wish DC would have did it better when introducing a brand new villain in the Batman Rogues galleries, let alone a fucking Joker sidekick. Um, I wish I had more respect for their characters, but their constant need to have people believe or think in a certain way is, it's proven bad. That's why they got their little cull going on. They're getting rid of the weak, cutting the fat, and only leaving the strong. People's like, oh, it's terrible that a lot of people are losing their jobs, and honestly, I agree with the sentiment that a lot of them should have been fired a long time ago because they've been screwing up comics for a good while. If you look into what DC was doing with their comics before a lot of them started getting fired, you would see they've been fucking up. It's just now they got caught. That's all. And in the words of Aladdin, you're not in trouble unless you get caught. Gotcha. I'm in trouble. And when Gotcha is another person catching Aladdin. Go watch Aladdin. You'll see. God, it's a good Disney movie. I did not see Aladdin. I bet you seen Frozen. You loser. Okay. If I have anything else to talk about, by all means, I will definitely let you know. Please go check out my comic book if you haven't. I would really appreciate it. Uh, it's you can head over to my website where I click on the links there, and it'll take you to the book. Um, it's not it's not my website. That would be ridiculous. That, no, Jesus Christ, now I forgot. Why don't I just have this up? Oh man, this is stupid. This is stupid. So, I can't even say I'll have the link somewhere. I need to say it because there's a freaking podcast. Well, you can just go to Amazon, type in These Guys, Carpet. These Guys is all one word. Carpet is its own separate word. Bird is the word. And, check out my comic book. Me and my friends made it. Really proud of it. Got to keep plugging it because I love it. I really want to see feedback from it. So one of the reasons why I keep plugging it, I just want people to check out my book. It's really what I want. And you can head over to our website. It's theseguys.mystringly.com. My string, like all of these things are all one word, but String it's MYSTRIKINGLY. Stringly? I've never looked at this word before. My Strinkenly. Strinkenly.com. It's these guys.mystrinkenly.com. God, I hope I'm saying this right. I'm probably not, and when I find out that I'm not, I'm gonna be so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. How can you? Oh, I'm embarrassed. Gotta be wearing a bear costume when I do that, but I'm so embarrassed. But head over to itstheseguys.mystrinkenly.com. Um, Click on the link. It'll take you right to the book. Get the book. Read the book. Tell me what you think of the book. I would love for you to do it, and then we're gonna make another book. That's how that works. But this has been fun with Flame, and as always, good people. I hope you had some fun. Also, be sure to check out the original home of the Fun with Flame podcast over at Anchor.fm. I upload there first and far more frequently than I do YouTube. And you should definitely go there to listen to some of my podcasts that are just too hot for YouTube to handle. So check out Anchor.fm for more Fun with Flame content. Be sure to subscribe and click any of the links in the description to see all of the other things that I am associated with, if you just want a little bit more of that day of the flame in your life.